welcome to another episode of In the Nude. Today I want to talk about love. What? Love? We all want love. We want to feel love. Even when we don't feel like love is a thing, we have this craving, this desire for acceptance, care, respect, regard. And it all piles into our actions, how we show for ourselves, how we show for other people, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve. Often, when we stop and we ask ourselves what we're doing, it comes back to this desire for worth, this desire for belonging. For example, say you want to become famous. Why do you want to become famous? Oh, because of the money. Okay, what does money give you? Money gives you ability and freedoms. Okay, why do you want abilities and freedoms? Because I wasn't allowed to have ability and freedoms. Okay, why weren't you allowed to have abilities and freedoms? Because your parents didn't give you the freedom of choice. You lived a really restricted life and you didn't feel safe. Okay, why didn't you feel safe? Because there wasn't regard. Most of the time when we boil back the actions we're doing, the things that we're taking, it comes back to the seed of safety, the seed of respect, the seed of belonging, acceptance, love. What does love look like? If I asked you if your parents loved you, what would be your answer? They cared for you, okay? Got a roof over your head. The same one that they lived in. They made you food. If your answer is the basic things that would have kept you alive and not had you removed from their care, if I ask you why your best friend, even though your best friend loves you, what would you say? What about your paramour? Why would you say they love you? What about your kid? The answers start coming easier, don't they? They tell you. They show it in actions. They do small things where they think about you and they care for you and they choose things that they know you like. Sometimes we use the label love because we feel like it's required. They hold a station. They were. I asked you why you loved your parents, is it the same answers you gave for why they loved you? Well, they sacrificed for me. They created a roof over my head. Whose voice is it saying those things? If I ask you why you love your spouse, your partner, your best friend, your kid, those answers come a little easier too. Sometimes we take this label of love and we apply it, but it doesn't always fit. Sometimes we hold respect. Sometimes we choose to sacrifice. But it isn't always love. It's a faulty word, love. It's like 40 different words compiled into the one we use. Maybe you have regard and you don't have harsh wishes. Is that love? Now I got a hard question for you. Do you love yourself? You might innately know the answer or not, but I'm not going to ask you a question. How do you know? What do you do for you? We want this acceptance, love, affection, value. How do you think somebody else is going to give you something you're not willing to give yourself? I know that burned. I'm sorry. But it's the truth. We keep looking externally for something to validate, give value, worth. We keep looking for somebody else to show us. Contrast to what we think is already true. Somebody else's ability to care for you doesn't have to do with your worth. Somebody else's ability to care for you and show up for you and sacrifice for you speaks more to where they are and what they have to give and what they view themselves and how they view this world and their willingness to look in the mirror than it does with what your worth is. If you want to feel loved, if you want to feel worthy, if you want to feel accepted, if you want to feel respected, one, fair. We all do. But it starts with you. It starts with you showing up and loving you. What does that look like? I want you to think of your best friend, your little brother, little sister, your kid, somebody you love a lot. Okay? Now I want you to imagine that you are in charge of every choice that they make for themselves, right? You've switched bodies, or you are somehow the person who's in charge of it all. What would you do if you knew that they wanted to get fit? If you knew that they wanted to ace this year in classes? If they wanted to learn how to paint? If they wanted to hike the entire Appalachian Trail? If you knew what their goals were, what would you do? How would you show up? It's taking that perspective and placing it on yourself. It isn't always the things that people think of. It is rare for me that buying myself something is self-love for me. Things that are self-love for me, it's choosing to take the shower, not because I want to or it sounds good, but because I know tomorrow me will be extremely happy that I'm clean and that I didn't have to shower that day. It means that even when I don't feel like eating, because it sounds like work to make myself something, I go make myself a sandwich. It means that when I don't want to get physical and stretch or walk, but I know that I really want to have a healthier body, that I show up for myself. It means that when I'm tired, I don't make myself get up and try to show up and have the energy of all of those things. I allow myself to rest so that my body can heal. It's not an easy practice to change. And especially when we try to take a 90-degree turn. It's a lot. We don't have to make everything all or nothing. It's easier to take it all or nothing. The harder choice is the one that lasts. Tiny change. Tiny, tiny change. Today, I'm going to go make myself food, even though I don't really want to eat. That's a tiny way that I'm going to show up for myself today.